The meeting will please come to order. Good evening, everyone. I am Trippy Congo, President of Wilmington City Council. And on behalf of all of my colleagues on council, we want to thank everyone for joining us this evening, those who are in council chambers and those who are with us virtually. Today is Thursday, December the 14th. Just a public note for any public comment, there is a Google Form sign-up link in the chat for anyone who would like to speak. Public comment will take place after non-legislative business. We will have our opening prayer by Akira Granado.
Heavenly Father, we have assembled to handle the affairs of our city. As we do so, we ask for your guidance and understanding. We pray that our city reaches a place of peace and safety. Keep us out of harm's way and bless those who are in authority. Let respect be key in all our endeavors. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. At this time, we'll recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Deputy Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman White. Councilwoman Darby. Councilwoman Oliver.
Present.
Councilwoman Harley.
Present.
Councilwoman Fields. Councilwoman McCoy.
Here.
Councilman Johnson.
Here.
Councilman Field.
Present.
Councilwoman Cabrera.
Present.
Councilman Mills.
Present.
Councilmember Spadola. Councilwoman Bracy.
Present.
President Congo.
Here.
9 present and 4 absent.
Thank you. I'd like to recognize Councilmember Fields, who's joined us. Also, Councilmember White. who has
Thank you,
joined
Mr.
us.
President.
So noted.
Thank you. This time we'll have the reading of the minutes of the previous meeting.
1 second. December 7th, 2003, City Council met in regular session with remote participation on the above date at 6:30 p.m. with Finance Chair, Council Member Christopher Johnson opening up the meeting. President Ernest M. Congo II, who was virtually, was unable to preside over the meeting at the time due to technical difficulties. The opening prayer was done by Akira Granado, Deputy City Clerk. The Pledge of Allegiance was recited by City Council. The following members...
Mr. President, I move that the minutes be accepted as written.
Second.
No, not yet, because we have to have a correction to the minutes.
Yes, thank you,
Okay,
Councilmember
Mr.
Cabrera.
President, I'd like to make a correction for one of the committee reports that was read at the December 7th meeting. Let the record reflect that the committee report for ordinance number 23-038, which was discussed at the November 9th Community Development and Urban Planning Committee meeting, the actual members present were Councilwoman Cabrera, Councilman Field, Councilwoman Darby, Councilwoman Fields, Councilwoman McCoy, Councilman Spadola, Councilman White, and President Congo. I now move the minutes as corrected to be accepted as written.
So move.
It's been properly moved. Can I get a second?
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that the minutes be accepted as corrected. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carried. We have 3 committee reports.
November 6, 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, President and members of City Council, ladies and gentlemen, we, your Finance and Economic Development Committee, met by anchor location and remote participation, to who was referred substitute number 1 to ordinance number 23-022, entitled An Ordinance to Amend Chapter 37 of the City Code to reduce civil penalties for certain parking violations and to eliminate the discount for early payment of certain penalties. Have given this ordinance careful study and recommend council vote on it accordingly. Respectfully submitted, those members present of the Finance and Economic Development Committee: Christopher Johnson, Councilman Member Johnson, Councilwoman Harley, Councilwoman Bracy, Councilman Field, Councilwoman Oliver, Councilman Spadola, and President Congo.
Mr. President, I move the committee report be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that that report be received, recorded, and filed on the question. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carried.
December 4th, 2023. President and members of City Council, ladies and gentlemen, we, your Joint Finance and Economic Development and Public Works and Transportation Committee, met by anchor location and remote participation, to who was referred ordinance number 23-041, entitled An Ordinance to Amend Chapter 45 of the City Code to adopt a comprehensive cross-connection control program. Have given this ordinance careful study and recommend council vote on it accordingly. Respectfully submitted, members of Public Works and Transportation Committee. Councilmember Oliver, Councilman White, Councilmember Bracy, Councilmember Fields, Councilmember Spadola, and President Congo.
At this time, I move the committee report be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that that report be received, recorded, and filed on the question. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carried.
December 4th, 2023. President and members of City Council, ladies and gentlemen, we, your Finance and Economic Development Committee, met by anchor location and remote participation, to who was referred ordinance number 23-045, entitled An Ordinance Authorizing the Issuance of the City's General Obligation Bond, WWTP Digester Gas Flare Replacement Project, Series E of the 2023 WPCRF, in order to provide the funds necessary for the city's relocation and replacement of the existing digester waste gas flares at its wastewater treatment plant, providing for the sale of the 2023 E bond to the Delaware Water Pollution Control Revolving Fund, and authorizing other necessary action. Have given this ordinance careful study and recommend council vote on it accordingly. Respectfully submitted, members of the Finance and Economic Development Committee. Councilmember Johnson, Councilmember Harley, Councilmember Bracy, Councilmember Field, Councilmember Oliver, Councilmember Spadola, President Congo.
Mr. President, I move the committee report be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
It's been properly moved the committee report be received, recorded, and filed on the question. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. This time we'll have our city treasurer's report.
December 14th, 2023, total investments, $504,491,822.71. Total cash on hand, $14,241,741.61. Grand total, $518,733,564.32. Submitted, Dwayne Sims, City Treasurer.
Mr. President, I move the treasurer's report be received, recorded, and filed.
Second.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that that report be received, recorded, and filed on the question. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. I'll accept the motion to move to accept all non-legislative business.
So moved.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second.
It's been
Second.
properly moved and second to accept all non-legislative business on the question. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carried. I believe we have one resolution of recognition. Councilmember Oliver.
Happy holidays. I guess y'all can see my outfit. I support the holidays. I'd like to call Mr. Ronell Page up here, and anyone else is here in his association. First, I'd like to make a statement, say a few words about Mr. Page. He runs his own staffing agency. He's always looking for individuals to do substitute teaching or hall monitoring, and he's always calling, asking me, do I have anybody? And I really appreciate that. He really does a good job throughout the state of Delaware with our youth throughout the school districts. Kind of picked up from where Mr. Pritchett left off. This is sponsored by Xanthia Oliver and All City Council. Whereas it's the sense of City Council to honor individuals and organizations who have demonstrated outstanding achievements and are deserving of recognition and acknowledgments. Councilwoman Xanthia Oliver would like to acknowledge and congratulate Mr. Ronell Edward Page and Page Associates staffing as one such individuals. Whereas Mr. Ronell is the founder of Page Associates Staffing, an educated staffing company, has started in 2019 along with his wife and business partner, Miss Bianca Page, from the start in a foster care system. Ronell has faced many obstacles and challenges in his early life. He was able to chart and positive a path in his future through guidance and support and mentors he encountered along the way. And whereas, in addition to being an owner of Page Associates and an active member of the community, Ronell wears many hats. Mr. Page is also a licensed insurance agent and registered security representative. He is currently one of the youngest regional vice presidents in the financial services. He also is devoted father of four. And whereas today Mr. Page Associates Staffing is the fastest growing agency of his kind in the tri-state area, Ronell has not slowed down. He recently was appointed youth master at the Work in Progress Ministries, where he can be found counseling youth in the community. He also is the vice president of Newcastle County Fatherhood and Father Coalition. To relax, Mr. Ronell enjoys spending time with his family and friends. Now there be it resolved by the council in the city of Wilmington that this legislative body would like to recognize the accomplishments of Mr. Ronell Page, Page Associate Staff, and we wish them the continued success. Job well done.
Thank you, City Council. Thank you, City of Wilmington. Thank you, Mr. President. On behalf of Page Associates Past Educators, we accept this recognition and this award. Thank you to Councilwoman Oliver. And our work is just now beginning here in the city. We look to expand all throughout the state of Delaware and give as many people a chance to work in the school system to help and support our youth as possible. Again, I thank you for this recognition award. We'll take this back, and our team will honor and continue to uphold the banner of Wilmington as long as we're in business. Thank you.
Councilmember Bracy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to express my congratulations. Well-deserved recognition for Mr. Page. I've known him for years, and he's been consistent with giving back and making sure that he's bringing people along with the journey from financial planning, teaching people how to budget, teaching young people about business, working with communities and schools. He has been consistent throughout the years, even facing his own personal obstacles in his life. So I just wanted to say congratulations.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, we'll move to public comment. As a friendly reminder, there is a Google Form sign-up link in the chat for anyone who would like to speak. Your time frame is 3 minutes. Please keep your comments to general matters pertaining to the City of Wilmington's councilmanic districts or city council business. Please do not address any council members directly, but please address all your comments to me as the president. And please watch your step as you are coming up to the podium. And also, please remember to introduce yourself before you begin to speak. Again, your frame time is to speak is going to be around 3 minutes. I'll give you a friendly reminder when you have around 30 seconds left. Mrs. Councilmember Oliver.
Yes, Mr. President, in an effort to further community education regarding this matter, I'm going to table this ordinance, which is number 0374, and refer it back to committee so everyone has the opportunity to hear what is going on due to the hundreds of emails and phone calls we have received.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Councilmember Oliver. But you will have to officially make that statement again once we get to legislative business, because we're not in legislative business yet.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, all right, thank you. And for those of you who may not have heard her comment, Councilmember Oliver's comment, she said that she does plan to hold her ordinance, but those of you who are in council chambers and those who have signed up virtually, we still will welcome you to come and give your public comment around that legislation. First, we have Deacon Earl Tate. How you doing, Deacon Tate? Doing all right?
Greetings. My name is Deacon Earl E. Tate, who is never late because he don't want to lose his pair of roller skates. Yes, indeed. And I'm here to speak on one thing first. We got to get the people out to vote. We got to get them, those that are non-registered voters, we got to get them off the tail and got to get them out here voting. Because if they don't get out here and vote, we're going to get somebody, we're going to get Trump back in office. And the first time you thought he committed, he upset things. But this time, he's going to really upset things by dictating not only the first day, but all the days while he's in there. So we got to get off our seat of do nothing and got to get out here and vote, because your vote counts. Our vote counts a lot. And if you don't believe me, watch and then see. Because if you don't get out here and vote, hey, it's your neck that it's going to be hung. That's going to be hung out to dry. But that's just one of the things that I had to say. The next thing that I had to say is about the streets. We receive so much money on fixing up the streets, but they're taking their time about fixing them up. And plus what we need here in the city, we need some speed bumps put in certain areas because these people now are driving down the street like a bat out of hell, racing for their grave. Hey, and we don't need that. We don't need that because a lot of the young people as well as the old people are in danger. Even the police. There was a car coming by, almost hit a policewoman, and everything. So we got to do something about that. We got to put speed bumps down here. If it's good enough for them in the county, it's good enough for here in the city, because we got to save lives, not waste lives, but save them. Because if we don't, who will? And I want to say, have a nice, beautiful holiday, and a blessed New Year.
Thank you. Next, we have Richard Armstrong. Please watch your step. Please remember to introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Dick Armstrong, and I was here to express my opposition to the removal of the Brandywine River Dam. I would like to thank Councilwoman Oliver for withdrawing tonight's resolution, and I look forward to speaking at a future committee meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have first name Richard, last name begins with MG. Richard MG. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Richard MG. I'm General Counsel for Capano Management Company, and I was here this evening on behalf of the ownership group for the Falls Apartment Community, which is located at the terminus of Mill Road. I was here tonight to speak against the resolution approving a construction easement for the demolition of dam number 6. Given what we've heard this evening, we'll speak further at the future committee meeting. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next, we have Brother Dwight L. Davis.
So when you do it, say we're referring to this here.
Am I facing the mic?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Mr. President, members of Wilmington City Council, and citizens, I repeat, citizens of the city of Wilmington. My name is Brother Dwight L. Davis. I am a member of the Wilmington City Council Reparations Task Force, but I'm also the founder of the ANDA, the African National Day of Assembly, Reparations and Freedom Coalition. We have a very serious problem in this particular city that needs to be thoroughly addressed. And that problem has to do with structured structures and structuring structures. The city of Wilmington over the last 6 years has been restructured to the point where we don't know whether or not the people are in fact even running things. We think that it appears that artificial entities are the ones that are making the decisions with respect to reparations. In 2018, Governor Carney signed a 50-year lease agreement with a United Arab Emirates organization, and included in that was the requirement for a community benefit agreement. Now, recently, in the South Bridge section of the city of Wilmington, the community was able to negotiate a community benefit agreement, but because of the restructuring of the city of Wilmington, the Wilmington Planning Commission had turned them down. I have a very serious problem with this. More so, and furthermore, there is a genetic company, GKS, GlaxoSmithKline, that has purchased 23andMe. 23andMe has to do with African Americans' genetic makeup. And there was recently passed by the Food and Drug Administration a genetic device known as genetic CRISPRs, where they will be, in fact, splicing the genetic makeup, attempting to suggest that they're doing this for the benefit of our community. We need to look at the restructuring of the city of Wilmington as it has happened over the last 6 years, and we need to have committee of the whole, and we need to determine whether or not this Wilmington City Council Reparation Task Force is going to be a flesh and blood task force, whether or not it's going to be an artificial entity. And I suggest
You have 20
that
seconds.
it should be flesh and blood versus artificial entity. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, and again, for those of you who did come to speak to Councilmember Oliver's resolution, that committee meeting will be on January the 17th. If you're not sure if you're going to be able to make that meeting, again, you are welcome to come and give your comments this evening. But if you definitely will be at that meeting, once I call your name, but you don't plan on giving any comment, you can just say that you'll say you don't have to come forward. You can just let me know that you'll give your comments at that committee meeting. But again, if you're not sure that you're going to be able to make that meeting, you're welcome to come forward and give your public comment. Next, we have Jimmy Horty. Okay. All right. Thank you. And next, we have Ricky Delore. Thank you for joining us. Please watch your step as you come to the podium, and please remember to introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Ricky Delore. I am the property manager of the Falls apartment community as well as a Delaware resident. I was here today to discuss that particular matter. I am unsure if I will be able to make that date. However, I did want to stress the importance of environmental conservation and need to support the aquatic life and other issues that were spoken of. I do believe the specific area is a breathtaking feature, a treasured part of our natural landscape. Its removal could lead to a loss of significant cultural and recreational assets that have been enjoyed by residents and visitors alike for many, many generations. More than just a scenic attraction, the waterfall plays a vital role in maintaining ecological balance of the area. While I'm sure there are good intentions here, natural selection has shaped our environment over the millennia. We should respect the resilience of that. By allowing it to remain, we not only preserve a piece of heritage and demonstrate the ability to maintain a delicate harmony that already exists. I do urge others to come out in opposition. I thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Also, that committee meeting will take place at 5 p.m., so it will be earlier. It will not be as late as the council meeting. So I just want to make sure that everybody who plans on making that committee meeting, this will be discussed, knows the time also. So it will be at 5 p.m., excuse me, on January 17th. And next we have Jim Shanahan. Thank you for joining us. And please watch your step as you come to the podium.
Thank you, President Congo. My name is Jim Shanahan. I'm the Executive Director of the Brandywine River Restoration Trust. I live in the 3rd District, and I'm not sure I can make it this next meeting, and I'm here today I was going to ask the council to approve the resolution to allow a temporary easement for the removal of the dam. This work has been going on for 4 years now with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, DENREC, the county, the city. Hundreds of dollars have been spent. Permits are issued. We are ready to go next month. Very disappointed to hear that this is being delayed for some reason. Over 25 articles have been written on this project over the last 4 years, many in the News Journal, which I'm sure many of us read. There's been over 70,000 social media impressions communicating to the public about this project, and there's been dozens of public events attended by thousands of people about this. And it's quite disappointing to hear that this is going to delay this project at this particular point in time. It's important to understand, by the way, for everybody here, that our efforts to restore the Brandywine River are actively supported by over a dozen environmental organizations such as the Delaware Nature Society and the Nature Conservancy, to name a few. And last but certainly not least, we are supported by thousands of people against a handful of people who are against this program. These people have attended Brandywine River Shad Fest every spring at Brandywine Park, and the children who have learned about the environment. And a very important reason why we're doing this as well is to reduce flooding on the Brandywine River. The residents of condominiums on the river going all the way up to Rockland, including Brandywine Falls, Bancroft Mills, the Falls apartment that had just been recently built, and including over 200 residents in northeast Wilmington who were flooded out and who many of whom still can't get to their homes. We're trying to do something about this. And against this, we have a handful of residents who want to look at a waterfall that was created over 100 years ago and it serves no purpose. Shocking. I'm going to close with two comments from our U.S. senators. Senator Carper, I have never been more inspired by Brandywine Shad Coalition for the great work all of you are doing to restore the ecology of this watershed and bring American shad back to the Brandywine. Your work represents not only a restoration of American shad to our waterways, but also a restoration of our historical heritage and hopefully a future with cleaner water, healthy ecosystems, and greater access to our lands and waters for all Delawareans. Senator Coons, BRT is playing an important role in restoring the free flow of the Brandywine River, reinvigorating the opportunity for shad and other aquatic life to travel up the stream to spawn as they have for millennia, way before these dams were built. Many of these dams, constructed more than a century ago, have harmed our environment and put public safety at risk, particularly the dam at the Capano Apartments that was referred to by a previous speaker. That's not Senator Coons, that's my editorial. Have harmed our environment and put public safety at risk without providing power for the mills along the Brandywine anymore. I can't tell you how excited I am at the idea of a clean and free-flowing Brandywine River. I look forward to engaging with the entire community on this. And for the people who haven't had a chance to see what's been going on for the last 4 years, I urge you to get out and look around and talk to people and see what's going on. And also to agree to participate in the process, which has been clearly explained to the residents of this, one of these organizations that is making such a big fuss about this, and play the game the way it's set up, and not the way it's been going on with sending letters and emails to everybody and creating a rouse and resulting in this delay, which is going to delay this project, which is on schedule after 3 years of work. Thank you, Mr. President.
You're welcome. Thank you. Next, we have Gerald Kaufman. Thank you for joining us, and please watch your step as you get to the podium. Please remember to introduce yourself.
Thank you, Mr. President. And my name is Gerald Kaufman. I'm the director of the University of Delaware's Water Resources Center, which is congressionally chartered by Congress to examine water resources issues in the state of Delaware and the surrounding region. And this is one of those issues that my office is interested in. I've been studying this for 20 years. And you know, the Brandywine is $1 billion resource. It goes all the way up to Pennsylvania. And the city of Wilmington benefits from there. It's our lifeblood. It's the drinking water source for the city's residents and the businesses. And it's one of the reasons why the city is on the rise, I have to say. And I'm really glad to see it. And I'm really glad to be here tonight. So I met Jim and I met Hunter Long a few years ago, and Brandywine Shad 2020 came to being and became Brandywine River Restoration Trust, and started examining the dams along the Brandywine. Because, you know, some of the Brandywine dams are actually a risk. They're a risk to public safety. They were constructed a century and a half to 2 centuries ago, and they did their job, with hydropower and running the mills that we all benefited from and got us here today. But the dam that we're speaking about tonight, which is Dam 6 at the experimental station, not the next one down, which is Dam 5, which is at Brandywine Falls. That's a different dam. The dam we're talking about tonight, and that the easement is being sought, is for Dam 6 at the experimental station. And the DuPont company is for addressing the deterioration at that dam. I was there at Ida on that day, September 2nd. I was there when it peaked. I scurried down the trail there, and I saw what Ida did to that dam firsthand. It spilled over and it flooded out the experimental station, and it caused a lot of damage. And so that dam is deteriorating. I'm a professional engineer in this state and 3 other states. So it's my responsibility as a licensed professional engineer, when I see a risk, it's to notify and do something about it. And Dam 6 is unsafe. It's unsafe, it's deteriorating. And you know what? Brandywine River Restoration Trust went through the process of federal, state, local approvals, and there's a big public process. And now the time is to address that and remove partially that dam to reduce the flood risk and allow the fish to come up. And it's going to be a good thing. So mark me down as being supportive for granting of the easement. And I say to the residents, come out and see how a dam can be addressed and decide for yourself. Dam 5, the one at Brandywine Falls, that's a different dam, and that'll be examined apart from this one. But I say let's get the ball rolling and let's clean up the Brandywine. And I thank you for the time here tonight.
You're welcome. Thank you. Next, we have John McGill. Thank you for joining us, and please watch your step as you get to the podium.
Good evening. My name is John McGill, and I live in the 2nd District, and I'm here to support the Resolution 374 to provide an easement to Brandywine Shad 2020 to enable the removal of an obsolete dam on the Brandywine River. I'm no expert, as what we just had up here. We were fortunate enough to have the expert today. A few weeks ago, we had several other experts here speak, but I can speak as a resident living, in one of the condos on Superfine Lane. And we had just moved in 3 months prior to this flood, this Ida flood, and I've never experienced a flood before. And I hope I don't experience one again. I'm sure my fellow citizens all went through that. It was horrible. I left work and the water was just cresting over into our courtyard. And when I came home from work, the water was above the courtyard into our first level parking lot, which is about 10 feet high. I'm 6 foot tall, so I could have been standing there 4 feet below that. I saw a lot of ugly things. I didn't lose my home that day. We're above the water line, in the condo. But I saw many cars floating in the lower garage of the condo next to us. The condo on the other side of us. I saw a lot of personal belongings that were swept away. Myself and a couple other the residents went out the following day when the water finally settled down, and we literally stopped at Home Depot, got the contractor bags, and we must have filled at least 50 of those bags. And the stench from this flood, it was a combination of oil, STP cans that washed up there that were open, gasoline. You that live on the Brandywine River, I'm sure you smelled the same thing, but, down in our area, the water was just raging and continued to flood. Within a couple of days, those cars that I had mentioned, there was about a half dozen or so, they pulled them out of the garage and put them out on the street just to get them out of there and let that dry. And then it was just, you know, a matter of cleanup for some of these dams that, you know, some of this flooding that happens in the condo association. I consider ourselves lucky, you know, because as you know, if you're attuned to the TV, there was a lot of people getting taken away from their homes in canoes that lost much more than just, you know, birthday cards, well-wish cards, and so forth. So I experienced it firsthand. I've heard a lot of these pros talk about the positive results of whether it be notching this dam or
You have 30 seconds.
taking the dam, you know, halfway down or so, and I feel much more comfortable, you know, listening to these professionals that know a lot more about it than I do. But from a personal standpoint, I know what I experienced, and you know, doing the thing with these dams is going to help a lot of that flooding go away. So I support the resolution, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Next, we have Kathleen Purcell. Thank you for joining us. And please watch your step as you get to the podium.
Good evening. My name is Kathleen Purcell. I live on Superfine Lane. I've lived there for about 7 years now, and I've experienced flooding from when the Brandywine and from different rainstorms, and especially Ida. I lost a lot of things that were stored in my garage. It's incredible how devastating water damage can be. But more than that is we really have to take the science seriously. And if the science says taking out the dams is a good, especially Dam 6, and DuPont is in favor of that. In fact, they're willing to pay for the dam removal. In fact, it's not even going to be a financial issue to the city. The other is the economic issues to the city of Wilmington. It's one thing if you're in a condo. It's another thing if you're a private homeowner on the northwest section of Wilmington. And, you know, you have a serious flood, and you have, whether you have insurance or not, it's a nightmare to deal with. And it's very difficult for families. Let's not make this difficult on families. Let's look at the science and look at what the experts are saying to support the removal of Dam 6.
Thank you. Next, we have Lorraine Petrula. Hello, thank you for joining us. You're welcome.
My name is Lorraine Bertola. I live in 2nd District. I also live at Superfine Lane, and I'm in support of Resolution 0374 to provide an easement to the Brandywine Shad 2020 to enable the removal of an obsolete dam on the Brandywine River, Dam number 6. I too experienced the flooding. I got to watch it all day. I work from home. My condo sits right on the water, and got to experience the flood for, you know, a few months after I moved in. And, you know, I'm looking at the road, the bridges being closed, and, you know, watching things flood down the river, people's personal belongings. You know, I started fearing for my safety sitting in this condo as the water's raging by, and I'm watching cars floating in the garage next to me, and the water coming up on the waterworks and lapping on the building and flooding that as well. And that's, you know, where our drinking water comes from. And, you know, I'm concerned about that. Also concerned about the bridge on Market Street breaking off, and it was closed by the police department. And considering if that breaks off and then damage it could do to our building, I actually left my building, my home, my safety, and was concerned about everyone down the river from us and above the river. And, you know, to hear the results of people losing their homes to flooding was just devastating to me. My family went through a flood when I was a child, and losing your home is just very uneasing as a child. You know, that's where you find safety. That's where you find your home, you know, where you feel safe from the world. And to lose your home and your safety, and, you know, for the children and the families, you know, that were flooded out. Fortunately, I wasn't flooded out and had no damage, but for those, you know, looking at those families and wondering where they're going to go and what they're going to do and how they're going to recover their homes. Fortunately, my family was able to recover our home, but, you know, I understand that there are people that have still not returned to their homes, families that have not returned to their homes, and the, you know, the upset of that and finding new places to school, new places to live, is really upsetting for families, and you know, and trying to recover from that economically. So thank you, and again, I just want to show my support for the easement for this dam removal. Thank you, Council.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have Yvonne Hall. Good to see you. It's been a minute.
Technology is a great thing. Good evening. Most of you know me. I'm Devon Marquis Hall from the 3rd District. I ran for that office against a tough incumbent and almost won that race as an indigent candidate, which means I had to petition to run during the pandemic. And to run for Delaware governor, I will have to petition again. My first meeting in that building across the way, the Carvel building, was with then Governor Jack A. Markell. It was a meeting about how we would stop a Ferguson-like situation from happening here in Wilmington. At that meeting was Alicia Clark's nephew, Maurice Clark. We called him Mingo. Rachel Livingston, Jordan Hines, Ron Handy. This is going to sound like a lot of quotes. Jack A. Markell quoted Frederick Douglass during that meeting. It's easier to raise up strong children than it is to repair broken men. We didn't make eye contact. I think we might have been sitting on the same side of the table. Today is John Mercer's birthday. John Mercer Langston. That's Langston Hughes's patriarch. I didn't grow up knowing about John Mercer, who founded Howard Law School. But there's a lot of things I didn't grow up knowing. My ancestry, we mentioned DNA analysis. I do know mine. I made this announcement at the Reparations Task Force meeting that I had full intentions to run for Delaware governor.
Mr. Hall, we can't make any political.
This campaign doesn't start with this meeting, doesn't start with this announcement. It started a long time ago. Now, my activism, my political activism, started from the church, Mother African Church, where the coalition to dismantle the new Jim Crow was started, where the pastor's daughter was one of the main folks working with Delaware Repeal to get rid of the death penalty. We went down to Dover. Wasn't something that I had in my mind to do. Wasn't something that I had in my mind to do when it came to the Poor People's Campaign and making sure folks that were unhoused because of Hurricane Ida were moved in the homes, not just the Hope Center, but in the homes. That they had a town hall meeting where they were able to speak with representatives from the state government, Eugene Young and Logan Herring. We were able to get everybody that was unhoused housed. We were able to get help from the warehouse. We were able to get help from the DuPont families. And when it comes to restoration and recuperation, my grandmother's favorite fish is shad. It's a bony fish, but it's her favorite fish. And I'm glad that you guys are standing together. Superfine Lane, during the pandemic, I couldn't campaign to you guys. I put out some flyers, but I couldn't talk to you because I didn't know exactly what the virus was doing. We didn't know. But I'm thankful to be here today. I'm thankful to see your activism. And that dam, I'm in full support of everything that you guys said. Thank you, community.
Thank you. Now we will move to our virtual community who has signed up for public comment, WITN. Vera Archibald, are you still with us virtually?
Yes, Mr. President, I'm here.
Okay, thank you for joining us.
Just like to introduce myself, I am Vera Archibald, and I am the site leader for the DuPont Experimental Station. I am the agent of record for the station, and I've been working with Jim Shanahan and the Brandywine River Trust for the last 4 years on the removal of the dam. We are part owners of the dam, Dam 6, along with the city of Wilmington. We installed Dam 6, forgot what it was somewhere about 100 years ago, and it is no longer of use or purpose to anyone, including us. We are in strong support of the removal of the dam. We have provided funds to the Brandywine River Trust for the removal of the dam. We consider the dam at this point a danger not only to the public, but it is a danger to the experimental station. We suffered hundreds of thousands of dollars of damage during Hurricane Ida. Because of the river flow over the dam, we would like the river to be returned to its natural state at a natural level. The threat that the dam poses to the economic engine that is the DuPont Experimental Station is real and will only get worse with time and with global warming. It is our deep regret that this resolution has been paused, and anybody who would like to talk to me about the removal of the dam and the impact that the dam will have on the station, please feel to do so. But I would like the record to state that the DuPont company and myself in particular are in strong support for the removal of the dam.
Okay, thank you. We do have a few more people who have signed up who are in council chambers, so we're going to go back and forth between our virtual public and those who are in council chambers. Next we have Yvonne Brown in council chambers. Okay. Next we have Karen. I'm sorry, I don't want to mispronounce your last name.
It's okay, it's Igo.
Okay, Karen Igo, thank you. Thank you for joining us. Please watch your step.
Thanks for letting us speak tonight. My name's Karen Igo. I work for Green Building United, which is a Philly-based nonprofit. I'm a senior program manager for community engagement. I've worked in the community of Northeast for the past year and a half, specifically around resilience efforts in light of Hurricane Ida, which devastated that community. I work directly with community members who still suffer PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder from that flooding. I work with people who are still not in their homes. I work with several organizations whose sole purpose is to help these people. And I want to say that it is an example of environmental racism that is happening here. We have a group of uneducated white people who are using political will to harm the people of color who live in the areas that will be flooded out if this continues. You may have some flooding at Superfine, but you probably won't be removed from your home. And you probably won't be living in the community with the largest combined sewer overflow on the Brandywine, where when you get flooded out, you will be walking in water filled with sewer, okay? So this is also people who wrote a fake letter full of misinformation, which can be corrected by Mr. Jim Shanahan or Dr. Jerry Kaufman or any of the scientists who have been working on this for several years. There are hundreds of thousands of dollars studying how to repair the Brandywine. The shad have been decimated. But if you don't care about any of that, if you don't care about the endangered species that is living in the river that you so lovingly look on out your window, care about the people at the end of this city, the majority black city that we live in, listen to the scientists and move on. We have way bigger issues in this city than y'all's view, because the dam you're talking about with your view isn't even the dam we're talking about here. Educate yourselves. This is madness. And you know what? Pushing it back is going to make it possible that we have a whole nother year where we lose more shad. And what a travesty. It's a hockey puck. If you look at the shad population, Google search it. It went just like this. You know why? Primarily things like dams. They cannot swim upstream if there's a big concrete barrier in their way. It's the beauty and wonder of nature that these fish, just like salmon, that's how they live. They fight the current uphill or up the river, upstream, to make their babies. And we want to keep a big concrete barrier in their way so these rich people living, or people of means living up a hill, can have a view of a little waterfall? Do you go into that community? Because if you did, good night, sir, you would be educated about all of this. That's how I even learned that Brandywine River Restoration Trust exists. That's how I am using a National Fish and Wildlife grant right now to fund the work that I'm doing in the 3rd District. And that is why I am in total support of this resolution. I hate that it got moved. I have been here I'm speaking twice now on it. I'll make every effort to be here again. Y'all need to be ashamed, whoever is pushing this, because we have way bigger problems than somebody's view harming people of color in our city that have enough on their hands, and also harming an endangered species that is the historical issue of this river, not the view. And if the people at the experimental station don't want it either, what's the holdup here? Literally, what is the holdup? Come on. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we will go to our virtual audience, Edward Hale.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you for joining us.
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. President, for allowing me to speak. I am an assistant professor with the University of Delaware's College of Earth, Ocean, and Environment. I am involved with studying fish, fisheries, and fish ecology. And I have been working in the Brandywine to monitor the effects and impacts of American shad in light of dam removal. And we have found a very positive response in terms of aquatic ecosystem benefits to dam removal, including increased species diversity, improvements in relative physical features, including reductions in sediment storage, restored flow conditions, increases in dissolved oxygen, and generally there is just these generalized benefits to the ecology. I heard one individual speak about ecology before, but it's just absolutely not true. When you remove dams, you increase diversity and provide increased habitat for native species. That's what we know scientifically. Oftentimes, when you compare dam removal to the cost of repairs, it's cheaper to actually remove the dam as well as maintain it. We know that there's an improvement in terms of flow characteristics, resiliency to the shoreline, potential defense in flooding events, and a decrease in habitat fragmentation, which is what dams actually create. The series of dams along the Brandywine have unfortunately cut habitat into small segmented pieces rather than one characteristic flowing river, which is what it was before the artificial installation of any dam along that reach. And I would ask that the City Council very much support the dam for the reasons mentioned by some of the folks, including shoreline resiliency flood protection, but most importantly to me, ecological restoration. I thank you for the chance to make comment.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have R.E. Page.
Good evening again.
Good evening.
With all respect to everyone that's here for the dam removal, my comment isn't on that, but it does sound like something that I'm learning a lot about, and just hope everything works out in the favor that needs to work. My actually concern is more about the need of support staff and community to our inner city schools and charter schools. You guys may not know, but our inner city schools are the most understaffed schools in the entire state of Delaware. When it comes to support staff, companies that are out there like Kelly Services and ESS, they historically staff the outer city schools prior to the inner city schools. Some of it because they just don't have the tool set to deal with our demographic of students, but some of it is also because of the lack of parking in the city. So many people are terrified of tickets coming to work, getting booted, car being towed, having nowhere to park, and not sure if there's a way that the city could provide a service type of decal for people who are actually serving our students and children in schools when they come to the city where they can park instead of having to try to move their car every 2 hours, which is impossible when you're a school teacher who doesn't get many breaks or time to leave the school. If you're a Ferrari Charter or Cumbra Academy or Great Oaks Academy, if your Howard High School parking lot is full, if you're one of the Christina School District schools, right down like Bancroft and Bayard and all the schools there, it becomes very tough and difficult for educators who want to help to come to work. Also, I was thinking about maybe potentially having some type of stipend program where maybe the DART bus could come together with the city for an initiative. If you're a City of Wilmington educator, maybe you could have a bus pass or stipend to where you can show your badge and get on the bus to get to work for free during early morning hours or going home hours. I staff currently 200 residents of the City of Wilmington currently, and I'm going to say about 30% of them catch Uber or Lyft to work. The going rate for an educator on a substitute teacher basis is about $110 a day. That Uber costs them maybe $22 to $27 one way. So literally there's many educators that are spending half their paycheck just to get to work every single day. It's horrible. The students all over the city are in classrooms that are super understaffed. They're being put in auditoriums. Teachers are asked to break their union contract to cover classes that aren't theirs. You have teachers that are teaching classes that they didn't go to school for. There's a super need within the city and outside of the city for staffing, but I just think we need to be more hands-on and more active and assisting these educators who want to come to the city and helping them get into the city, even if it's just parking their car, maintaining a parking spot, and or getting some type of stipend or support with catching the bus system that's ran through the city of Wilmington. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, virtually, we have Matthew Sarver.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
I just was here to comment in support of the temporary easement for the removal of Dam 6. I'm a professional ecologist with experience working in the Christina and Brandywine River basins, and wanted to mostly just echo what Ed Hale said a few minutes ago with regard to the ecological benefits, the very well-known ecological benefits of dam removal for aquatic species, fish, invertebrates, amphibians, even plants along the river corridor. The reestablishment of natural flow regime within the river is a good thing for all those species. You typically see an increase in dissolved oxygen, usually a decrease in water temperature. All of that is good for both the migratory fish like the shad, but also resident breeding fish. I was down at the site of the Dam 1 removal, which happened a few years ago this past summer, and saw nesting red-breasted sunfish right there in the gravel on the bottom of the creek where that dam had previously been. So when all that sediment gets flushed out, you get exposure of gravel and cobble substrates that the fish use preferentially versus the heavy fine sediments that accumulate behind the dams. So just generally, I would comment that the ecological benefits of dam removal on the Brandywine are significant, and would urge the city to grant the easement. Hopefully, I'll be able to make the committee meeting as well in January. But those are preliminary comments in support of the project moving forward and the easement being granted. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Next in council chambers, we have Lorraine. Last name begins with a B. You already spoke. Okay. John McGill, I think he already spoke. And Nancy, last name begins with a B. Is Nancy still with us in council chambers? Okay, we'll go back to our virtual audience. Frank, last name begins with a U.
Mr. President, I'll hold my comments for the committee meeting on January 17th.
Okay, all right, thank you. Next we have Leslie Phillips. WITN is Leslie Phillips still with us virtually? Leslie Phillips, if you're still with us virtually, please raise your hand. We'll move on to, I believe Richard Armstrong already spoke, right? Okay. Next we have Aran, ARANTZA.
Hi, Mr. President. My name is Aranza. I worked with Jim Shanahan on the Brandywine River Restoration Trust, and
Thank you for
I'm
joining
in
us.
full support of the removal of the dam. Earlier, a lady said that she was open to people challenging her about the ecology. Well, there's actually no proof that having a dam helps the environment. It's actually quite the opposite. In Washington State, for example, the salmon almost, got executed, and removing the dams is what actually helped them repopulate. And secondly, over the summer, I worked with kids in the inner city to test the water on the Brandywine River for levels of intercoccus. And essentially I don't know her name, she talked about just the disparity between, the rich and the poor. But it's true, when we tested the water, the further you go down on the river, the worse the water is. So, there definitely needs to be the removal of the dam, not only just for the fish and the environment, but for the people that live in Wilmington, Delaware as well. So I definitely will be attending the meeting on the 17th, but I just wanted to voice my support for the removal of the dam as of now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next we have Chris Savage. WITN is Chris Savage still with us? Okay. Chris Savage, if you're still with us, please use the raise hand sign. No, okay. Next we have John Phillips Jr.
Mr. President, this is John Phillips or Jack Phillips.
Okay,
My
thank you
wife
for
is
joining.
Leslie Phillips, who had a technical difficulty and could not address you when you called her name. In any event, she is the president of the Brandywine Falls Homeowners Association. I'm a resident of Brandywine Falls. We'd first of all like to thank Councilwoman Oliver for tabling this motion so it can be further considered. rather than address all the comments previously made, I would just point out to the council people that there's an alternative method for saving the shad. You can build fish ladders and let them swim up the fish ladders. The dams don't have to be removed. Secondly, I don't think there's any scientific proof that the dams are what caused the flooding. It's my understanding that the flooding was caused during Ida because some reservoir up in Pennsylvania was about to fail, so they opened the reservoir and let a huge surge of water come downstream. That was an abnormal situation caused by a reservoir up in Pennsylvania, not by any of the dams. But in any event, I'll save the balance of my comments for your next meeting. Thank you for hearing us.
Okay, thank you. Does your wife still want to give public comment?
I think she's satisfied with me.
Okay.
Well, in this regard,
I hope she is.
maybe not in all things, but in this regard.
All right, thank you for joining us. Next, we have Dr. Robert Biscup.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you for joining us.
I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
Okay, yes, my name is Dr. Robert Biscup. I'm also a resident of Brandywine Falls. And along with John Phillips, I'd like to reserve any further comments till the follow-up meeting on the 17th. I am in support of looking at the various alternatives to removing the dams, just for a complete discussion on the issues. So I'll reserve any further comments till that time.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have Lee Powers. All right. Lee Powers, if you're still with us, please raise your hand. Next, we have Kevin Malloy.
Yes, Mr. President, and all city council members and the general public. I am not speaking about the dam removal, but I've learned a lot just listening to the other public comment. And from what I've gathered, I would support the ecological reasoning to remove the dam. But that is not what I was speaking about. I'm speaking about the ticketing and the commending Councilperson Maria Cabrera and all the others that have worked so diligently to make this happen, and to the reduction of the parking tickets from 40 to 25 for the first 3 weeks. I think that's a great step forward to easing some economic pain, and also the issue of the gotcha attitude, which is an unfortunate reality of creating revenue. I think any penalty-driven revenue for the city is obviously one way to meet the budget, but I think we also need to look at modernizing the parking ticketing and parking to be even incentives and subscriptions, and using modern phone app technology so that someone could subscribe to a having parking available, but it would also be linked into marketing with collaboration with retail and restaurants. To if you subscribe to a parking app, and you'd pay a fee of $25 or $50 a year, you'd also be getting notifications of specials and deals at restaurants and retail establishments within the business district. I think that the retail industry is more and more becoming fragile to the increasing trending of online shopping, and the other issue of parking in the city of Wilmington has been an issue that one of the other public comments even spoke about, with the challenges for people that are coming into the city to work. And I think that this issue of parking and ticketing, we need to not just look at it from a penalty-driven revenue source, but we also need to look at from the other side of using marketing and incentives for people to come into the city. and subscriptions, and phone apps are very popular and accessible, and a way to avoid these gotchas of $40 and now just hopefully $25 tickets. So that's what I was speaking about. Thank you very much, and I just want to commend all the public that attend and the passion for the city of Wilmington. And this is really how we're going to change the city and make it a better city, is for the citizens to become empowered, to become engaged. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we have Jen Parrish.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you for joining us.
Perfect. Hi, Mr. President and committee. My name is Jen Parrish. I am BRRT's program manager. I'm also a former legislative aide who worked extensively on environmental issues and legislation within the Delaware State Senate. I'm also an outdoor enthusiast and a Brandywine Park lover. So this vote to grant BRRT access, this is so important. This is not only a case of river restoration and environmental health. This really, what it comes down to, this is a case of environmental justice, which I hope to submit, unfortunately, comments for when this goes back to committee. In the meantime, I encourage the council to not only consider the environmental, but also the human components and those who are disproportionately affected from the very, very real danger of dam number 6. Regarding alternatives, again, I want to say there is very real danger of keeping dam number 6 up. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Susan Kelleher.
I apologize. I only made a comment that I thought I'm here for the dam questions, but I think that this question around parking, I don't know how to get involved in the city in this front, but I'd be very open to helping to construct a program like that. I've lived in cities where programs where parking for whether you're a civil servant in city or whether you're an educator or public health, that you have preferential treatment with regard to parking and to public transportation.
Okay, thank you very much. I think that does conclude our public comment. Is that correct, WITN? Okay. Next, we will move to legislative business. Friendly reminder that pursuant to our council rules for all legislative matters, the sponsor is entitled to speak first and last, and also during debate, each council member may speak twice for up to 5 minutes each time. Going to go just a little bit out of order, going to allow Councilmember Maria Cabrera to go first.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I have an ordinance to present and call for the first and second reading.
Second.
Ordinance number 23-046, agenda number 0375. An ordinance to authorize and approve an extension of contract 24012 LI vacant property services between the City of Wilmington and RA Contractors LLC.
First reading of the ordinance.
An ordinance to authorize and approve an extension of contract 24012 LI vacant property services between the City of Wilmington and RA Contractors LLC.
Second reading of the
President,
ordinance.
I move that be known. Mr. President, I move that be known as the first and second reading of the ordinance and refer to the Community Development and Urban Planning Committee.
Second. Second.
It's been properly moved and second that that be known as the first and second reading of the ordinance and refer to the Community Development and Urban Planning Committee.
Thank you. Mr. President, I have an ordinance to present and call for the third and final reading.
Ordinance number 23-022, agenda number 0301. An ordinance to amend Chapter 37 of the City Code to reduce civil penalties for
Mr. President, I have a substitute to present in lieu of that ordinance.
Substitute 1 to ordinance number 23-022, an ordinance to amend Chapter 37 of the City Code to reduce civil penalties for certain parking violations and to eliminate the discount for early payment of certain penalties.
Mr. President, I move that be known as the enacting clause of the substitute ordinance and call for a yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved in second, that be known as the enacting clause of the substitute ordinance, and called for a yea or nay vote on the question.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, we're very excited to present this ordinance tonight for a final vote. We have been working on this for a while, for a couple of years, and it goes longer than that. It goes back to when I first served on council, 2013, in trying to align our parking practices here in the city, which I thought, the whole system was pretty predatory, as was mentioned, but also to look back that a lot of the laws that we have in our books, especially when it comes to parking, time restrictions, some of them go back as far as 30 years, that there have not been changes. I understand the reason why the parking fines went up from $10 when I worked with Mayor Sills to $25 before they went up to $40 during the Baker administration. Understand the economics of that, but we are a city of low means. We have a lot of poverty in a city, unlike other cities, and yet cities like Philadelphia and nearby areas, they were charging $25 for their parking fines, and most recently they have gone up. We're going in a different direction, which is good news. There's been a lot of advocates, a lot of discussion around fairness, and when we look at the areas that get the most parking tickets, the ones that are closer to downtown, adjacent to downtown, like West Center City and the East Side, when you don't have those parking stickers, which was also part of the reform, you get those tickets. You get, staying there over an hour or 2 hours or a parking meter. And sometimes I feel that it's our residents that live in those areas that are the poorest. They have the lowest income in our city, that have to take the brunt of this when those tickets start going up and they just can't afford to pay it. So in the many discussions and negotiations that we had to go through, because this almost did not happen, looking at trying to be fiscally responsible, the mayor and the finance director, in discussion with his team, we talked about what is this discount that people get when they pay early. So from instead of $40, you would pay $30 if you pay within 3 days. At that point, the mayor just said, that's not enough time. And I said, yes, I agree, Mr. Mayor, that's not enough time. Give people at least a paycheck. Let them get a paycheck. That's when the director of finance said, if we're giving the discount for $30, it's not going to really hurt the budget that much if we just go down by $5 to $25, and let's extend the discount to $14. So this legislation looks a little different than what we originally planned. But in the spirit of negotiation, it can't always be my way or your way. Sometimes we have to find a middle ground, and this is the middle ground. So the discount is 14 days, not 21 days. If you pay at that time, you'll pay $25. It should give people at least one paycheck, and even those that get paid biweekly, to come up with $25. That's less than $2 a day, which is a little bit more reasonable for a family who's struggling to have to come up with $40. Now, the fine will go back up to $40 after the 14 days. And what we already have in place resumes with the $20 and then the other $20 until we max out at 110. So I'm hoping to prove some people wrong, to say that folks are just scofflaws, that they just don't want to pay, and that with the $25, it would be more of an incentive with the additional time, that when you do get a parking ticket, for whatever reason, if you're not appealing it, that you do pay it. And the other changes that have happened with parking reform is that now you can appeal to the JP court. So the city's hands are out of the appeal process. And you can feel, at least for those who didn't feel they were getting a fair shake, that you're getting a fair shake. A lot has changed with the booting and the towing, as you heard and seen. That has become a more open and fair practice. Does more work need to be done in this area? Listen, I'll raise my hand and say, surely we do need to do more. Parking meters being updated, modernized, so that you can pay with an app, as was mentioned by Mr. Malloy. These are things things that are in the works. And as you've seen, some of our parking meters were already on the app. We want to make that citywide. And then when it comes down to the gotchas, the 1 hour, the 2 hour residential parking, those things were enacted by people, by the very communities who wanted those restrictions. So now you, the city of Wilmington, the residents of city of Wilmington, you get to decide. You have the power in your hand. Do you need a 1 hour restriction still on your block? Do you need a 2 hour parking limitation on your block? If not, get together with the neighborhood association, discuss it, and ask to have those restrictions lifted. And then we don't have to have those. How about street cleaning? Does every neighborhood need street cleaning every week? Does every street need to be clean? No. Decide how often you want your street cleaning when we're at that time. So with
Councilmember
that
Cabrera.
said, I just want to thank
Councilmember
everybody
Cabrera.
that has been a part of this. This is not an individual effort. This has been a collective of many
Councilmember Cabrera.
people. And yes, it may have started with a passion that I had for getting rid of these
Point of
predatory
order.
Councilmember
practices,
Cabrera, can you hear
having
me?
been a victim. But it started back when I served, and we brought the statute of limitations to 7 years instead of
Councilmember
just
Cabrera,
open.
can you hear me?
It also, the former council, when they started the
Mr.
parking
President,
task
call for
force
the question, please.
under the leadership of Councilwoman
Councilmember
Harley,
Cabrera.
COVID came and you guys were not able to continue to do the work. We may have been here a little sooner had that happened.
Councilmember
Thank the
Cabrera.
leadership that was expressed. Definitely have to thank the mayor and the administration for the negotiations because it was very tight when the
Councilmember
mayor's trying
Cabrera.
to leave the city in a fiscal responsible manner so that we don't have the deficits that we have
My
seen
texter.
previously with the change of administration. So want to thank those folks and the current fines and fees task force that Councilmember Darby
Councilmember
heads,
Cabrera.
the work that the members of that task force are doing to bring the fees and fines more in alignment. I know that this was an issue that she also felt very passionate about, and their members, Christian Willauer, Cheyenne, the whole gang, Brandon, I know you guys gather. We may not always see eye to eye on every issue, but I know this is one that we all agree to, and I appreciate your support.
Councilmember Cabrera, can you hear me?
Ken Grant, who may not live in the city, but certainly has advocated for fair parking practices, making sure that the signs are true and real. I mean, we've done skits, we've done all kinds of things. So it has been a collective effort. You, my council members, who I'm sure will unanimously vote for this, want to thank you in advance, and just know that there's still more work to be done so that we can really do things that are positive. These are things that directly
Point
affect
of
our
order.
residents, unlike fees and fines, and when people are trying to get a license to work in our city, we align those fees with what should be fair, considering what other cities are doing. This one hits home. This affects
WITN, are you
our
able
people,
to
our
reach
voters,
out
the people
to
that we
Councilmember Cabrera?
represent. So I'm very happy that we are finally here, and this will take effect the early next year.
Thank you.
Beginning of January 1st, as long as all the paperwork and everything is ready, because we had to reprint all those tickets and everything to reflect the new rules and the new cost of the fine. Thank you, and that is all I have to say on this.
Thank you. Councilmember Johnson.
I will make this very brief. I appreciate the work on this, as I am on the task force as well, the Fines and Fees Committee. I don't know why it took this long, but I'm glad we're finally here. This is one of our good government projects, as we shouldn't be making money off the backs of residents that could least afford it. We need to look at, I still think, and Councilmember Spadola brought this up, I think we need to look at night and weekend enforcement as we become an entertainment destination. So that's, again, in the future, but kudos to everyone who's worked on this project and all our colleagues. I think everyone will be a yes vote, I hope, for this, and look forward to getting this implemented next year. Thank you.
Councilmember McCoy.
Thank you. I just appreciate Councilwoman Cabrera's persistence in addressing the matter of reducing the parking tickets. Even before the establishment of the task force, her stance had been showcased of the parking commitment. She wanted to make certain that all the stuff went down. I did not really see that we were going up that high, but she was able to show me what the difference looked like, and I appreciate her for it. So I just thank her for consistently championing what she believed to be the right course of action. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Fields.
Thank you, Council President. I just want to say to Councilmember Cabrera, job well done. Thank you. And that's it.
Clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilmember White,
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Field,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilman Mills,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy. Yes. President Congo.
Yes.
11 yeas and 2 absent.
Declared adopted.
Congratulations, Maria.
Thank you. Thank you all.
This time we're going to return to our regular order. Councilmember Oliver.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I am going to be holding the resolution 0374. I'm not holding it, I'm sorry. I am going to present Rule 18. I'm going to move to refer the Agenda 0374 to Public Works Committee, January 17th committee, due to more education on both sides because all the emails and phone calls we received. So I'm going to refer it back to committee so everybody can hear everybody's side.
Can we get a second?
Second.
Second.
Do a voice call vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion approved.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilmember Harley.
Thank you.
Mr. President, I have an ordinance to present.
I
I'm
have
sorry. I apologize.
I still have another.
Yes, I'm sorry. Councilmember Oliver, you may continue.
Yeah, thank you. Mr. President, I have an ordinance to present and call for the third and final reading.
Ordinance number 23-041, agenda number 0363, an ordinance to amend chapter 45 of the city code to adopt a comprehensive cross-connection control program.
Mr. President, I move this be known as an enacting clause of the ordinance and call for a yea, nay vote. Second.
It's been properly moved and second that be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and called for a yea or nay vote on the question.
Yes, Mr. President, this ordinance amends Chapter 45 of the City Code to adopt the City of Wilmington Cross Connection Control Program dated October 2023, as many that may be amended for time to time and conformance to with 16 Delaware Administration 446221.0 entitled Cross Connection Control.
Seeing no hands raised, clerk, please call for the vote.
Councilmember White,
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Field,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Field,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilman Mills,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy. Yes. President Congo.
Yes.
11 yeas and 2 absent.
Declared adopted. Councilmember Harley.
Yes, Mr. President, I have an ordinance to present and call for the third and final reading.
Ordinance 23-042, agenda number 0364. An ordinance to approve the Liberty Street Properties Major Subdivision Plan and authorize the city to remove Liberty Street, Nancy Street, and 2 unnamed alleys from the official city map and accept the dedication of new segments of Liberty Street, Lower Linden Street, and Lower Elm Street as public rights-of-way and add them to the official city map.
Mr. President, I move that it be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and call for the yea and nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and called for a yea or nay vote. On the question?
Yes, Mr. President, this ordinance approves the Liberty Street Properties Major Subdivision Plan, authorizes the city to remove Liberty Street, Nancy Street, and 2 unnamed alleys from the official city map, and authorizes the city to accept the dedication of new segments of Liberty Street, Lower Linden Street, and Lower Elm Street, and add them to the official city map. This ordinance has no significant anticipated fiscal impact. I just want to say that last week when this was presented on the floor, I heard information that I felt I needed more information. I wanted to be on record that I did have the opportunity to speak to the developer. I had an opportunity to speak to Councilmember McCoy. There were some requests that were asked of the developer to provide in terms of a path forward, his plan of action, and he definitely provided those documents not only to Councilmember McCoy, but to myself. And I'm glad I had the opportunity to hold it because I learned a lot about the developer and some of the great things that he does in the city of Wilmington. He has plenty of properties that he has developed and bear in other areas where he has completed. Mariner's Watch is one. St. Andrews. These are well-known developments and communities that some of us are aware of. So I feel pretty comfortable now as it relates to understanding what their concerns were, the constituents that live in the district, which is across the street from these properties. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember McCoy.
Thank you. I just would like to thank Councilman Harley for delaying the vote and then allowing the developer and I to get clarity on other issues before voting this upcoming ordinance. So with new understanding, I will be voting to support the ordinance.
Thank you. And seeing no other hands raised, clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilman White,
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Field,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilman Mills,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy,
Yes.
President Congo.
Yes.
11 yeas and 2 absent.
Declared adopted.
Thank you, Mr. President. May I be excused?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Johnson.
Mr. President, I have an ordinance to present and call for the third and final reading.
Oh, second.
Ordinance 23-045, agenda number 0368. An ordinance authorizing the issuance of the city's general obligation bond, WWTP, digester gas flare replacement project, Series E of 2023 WPCRF, in order to provide the funds necessary for the city's relocation and replacement of the existing digester waste gas flares at its wastewater treatment plant, providing for the sale of the 2023 E bond to the Delaware Water Pollution Control Revolving Fund, and authorizing other necessary action.
Mr. President, I move that be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and call for a yea nay vote.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that be known as the enacting clause of the ordinance and called for a yea or nay vote on the question.
Yes, Mr. President, this is really a housekeeping matter for Public Works. As discussed during committee, this is continued investment in our clean water. If you look over the past few years, invested tens of millions of dollars into clean water. As we've heard about many environmental issues tonight, and the hundreds of emails we've got about the dam. So this is just, again, it's a housekeeping matter, just allowing us to receive these government bonds. There's no fiscal impact to the city.
All right, thank you. Seeing no hands raised, clerk, please call for the roll.
Councilman White,
Yes.
Councilwoman Oliver,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fields,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCoy,
Yes.
Councilman Johnson,
Yes.
Councilman Field,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cabrera,
Yes.
Councilman Mills,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bracy,
Yes.
President Congo.
Yes.
10 yeas and 3 absent.
Declared adopted. This time we're going to move to petitions and communications.
Mr. President, may I be excused?
Yes, you may. Councilmember White.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd just like to comment on a event I attended on Sunday, the Carol of Color. It's hosted by the Christiana Cultural Arts Center under the direction of Mr. Ray Rose. It was held at the Playhouse, and it was well attended. More so, the concert was one of magnificence. He warned that it would cause you to cry, and cry I did by the second act. So I want to give kudos to Mr. Ray Rose and Christiana Cultural Arts Center. Secondly, I want to mention that there was a groundbreaking in the First District this past Wednesday, Snowy Wednesday, or maybe it was Snowy Tuesday. The announcement of 18 townhomes are going to be built and on a lot that was once brownfield, so it will really stabilize the community as well as really becoming the gateway to the city that it's always meant to be. And that location is 34th, 35th, and East Lawn Avenue. So I want to thank the developers of that project and partners, including Wilmington Housing Authority and others. No other comments at this time, Mr. President.
Thank you. Thank you. Councilmember Harley. Thank you. Councilmember Fields.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to let the community know about a couple of events that will be coming up. We have, excuse me, I thought I had it all together. On Saturday at William Hicks Anderson Community Center, there is there's something called PJs and Pancakes. And this is the first annual event that they're having. And what they're doing is you can come in your PJs or not, but we will be providing the community with PJs for that event. And there's different stations that, they can attend and that's this Saturday, I'm sorry. That's December the 16th. Then Community Cares presents Dreams Come True, Christmas Toy Giveaway, Moon Bounce, Face Painting, Music Giveaways, and more. Now, this will be on, the writing is so small, Jesus. Sorry, but it'll be on December the 23rd, which is a Saturday, and it's going to be from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., and it's held at the Chase Fieldhouse. So there is a QR code that you need to scan so that you can get registered. They're not doing walk-ups this year, so you have to scan a code. I will be placing this on my Facebook page. But again, this event is Saturday, December 23rd from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And Cool Shoes, they're doing a toy giveaway as well on the 24th. And that's going to be from 3 p.m. until the bikes are going. Right now, I don't have the flyer with me, but I will make sure that I put it on my page. And if anybody needs the information, they can call the office and I'll have it available. Do I have a quote?
Of course.
Can you come back?
Yes, we'll come back. You want me to come back to you?
Yeah.
Okay. Council Member McCoy.
I was waiting on the quote.
I appreciate my colleagues. Go ahead and talk about something.
All right. I just would like to announce that MSK Community Center will be having a holiday extravaganza on Friday, December 22nd, and it begins at 4 p.m. There's going to be dinner, a tree lighting, ornament creating, bonfire, s'mores, movies, and games. Everyone is welcome. The address is 1009 Sycamore Street, right near the Maryland Avenue. That is the cross street from it. So I hope to see everyone there. Also, I would like to let people know that I heard you. I got your phone calls when it came down to the home repair program and no one was able to get through. So I did try, many ways to see if there was anything that we can do. We're so glad that everyone was so responsive. And I hope you all realize that the application process ends tomorrow. So if you didn't get in, hopefully you'll have an opportunity for the next one in March. So I look forward to seeing whose homes will be chosen. So good luck to you all, and happy holiday.
Thank you. Councilmember Johnson.
I have no announcements at this time. The only thing is to piggyback off Council Member McCoy. Today is the deadline, so for the first lottery, the home repair program. But there is another lottery that will be opening up in March. So if you couldn't get through this time, please be patient as we work out the kinks. And there will be another one in March. And God willing, if the budget, as we begin this budget process in the beginning of the year, we'll have a lot more funds to release to the community. We'll continue to work at that. And also the first-time home buyer application is on the city website. So you can go there as well, as I've gotten many requests as well. You can just go to the link and you can see if you're eligible income-wise, in the first-time home buyer applications there. So please sign up for that as well. Everyone have a safe and happy holidays, and I'll see you in 2024.
Thank you. You ready, Councilmember Fields?
Yes, I am.
All right.
The quote for this evening and for the last meeting of the year for City Council. The holiday season is a perfect time to reflect on our blessings and seek out ways to make life better for those around us. Terry Marshall. Happy holidays to everyone.
Thank you, Councilmember Field.
It's already been a long meeting, so I just want to say happy holidays to everybody here and to everybody watching, and happy New Year, and see you back in chambers in January.
Thank you. Councilmember Mills.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just wanted to echo Councilmember Fields and just say happy holidays to everyone. Have a safe and wonderful holiday, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Councilmember Bracy.
Still here.
I apologize. Councilmember Cabrera.
I'm sorry, I did ask to be excused early, but since others left before me, I figured I'd hang out to the end. I'm going to keep it brief. Apparently, I took too long when I was speaking about the legislation. My apologies.
Apparently.
Didn't hear the comments, didn't hear my name, didn't hear anything. I was focused. First, want to wish everyone happy holidays, happy New Year, whatever holiday you celebrate. Remember, safety first. A lot of fires, a lot of tragedies happen around this time with heaters, with plugging too many cords into one outlet. So please be careful. If you have any questions, any issues, our Wilmington Fire Department will be happy to answer them. But let's avoid some tragedies. I want to thank my council colleagues, Al Mills, Councilman Mills, and State Representative Chicocha, and Councilman White. We were present yesterday for a Q&A at the North Wilmington Library with 7th graders from AI Middle School. They had some really thoughtful questions that have to deal with the hardcore issues that we have going on in society, and we were happy to answer them. So I'm thankful to my colleagues for inviting me and making me a part of that. I think State Representative Chicocha and Mills were part of that and included us. So thank you for that. And then last but not least, we are in open enrollment for the Affordable Care Marketplace. Tomorrow is the last day. That's the first cutoff, but you still have time till January 15th to sign up and get a plan. A lot of people have lost Medicaid because now we're back to the pre-COVID norms. So please don't think that you don't have an option. If you've lost your Medicaid, if you've lost your insurance, or you've never had health insurance, you'd be surprised at the amount of tax credit that you could get. So please look into that. I am helping people sign up. But again, we just want to make sure that people get insured. And happy holidays to all. Thank you, my colleagues, for your support this year. It's been a challenging year, but we've had some wonderful moments that we can celebrate. And tonight is one of them. So happy New Year to all.
Thank you, Councilmember Bracy.
I think Councilwoman Cabrera took my time.
Took everybody's time. Motion to adjourn? No, I'm just playing.
Nothing tonight. Just happy holidays and everyone stay safe.
All right, thank you. Turning back to Councilmember White.
Yes, Mr. President, I know the night is long, but I've got to echo Councilwoman Cabrera's comments regarding the Q&A with the 7th graders from AI DuPont. I just want to say that many of us know that we have the state poet laureates in Councilor Mills and Brother Nomney, and they gave a performance. They may not call it that, but they gave a performance about a poem about a Monday being different in a certain house. But I was captivated. Very talented. If you've never heard their poetry or been in their presence while giving it, I would surely recommend. The youth in the room responded, but it was an excellent poem. I don't know if you can call it poetry, but it was just moving and touching. Very talented. We're very lucky to have them as the state's poet laureates. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd just like to just start off by thanking our staff here on City Council for another year. Job well done. I know we're not the easiest to always work with, but we all appreciate you. That's coming from all of us on who are City Council members. Thank you so much to our team who just makes it happen for us on a daily basis. Also want to wish everyone happy Hanukkah, happy New Year, Merry Christmas, happy Kwanzaa. Again, if you need us throughout the holidays, you can call our office at 302-576-2140. Again, our number is 302-576-2140. If you have any questions or concerns on how we can help you in any way, please give us a call. And with that, I will accept a motion to adjourn.
Second.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second to adjourn. All in favor? Signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Happy holidays, everyone.